Let's stay with this particular story and speak to political analyst Professor Sethulego Matebesi and Rebone Tau. Thank you so much to you both for your time. I'll start with you, Prof. There's been speculation for quite some time now that the Deputy President has resigned, and yesterday the confirmation coming at a funeral where he was speaking, of course, laying to rest his brother. What do you read into the decision to announce such a big decision at a gathering like this one?
Hi, good evening, Dokoza. Good evening to my fellow panelists and Tau. Well, it was expected. I mean, if you look at the outcome of the elective conference of the African National Congress, it was expected that the Deputy President will resign. But my take is you need to look at the organizational decorum. When you resign in such a senior key position, you will have to take the presidency into confidence. And my understanding is the presidency will then make that announcement. Because even in a private organization, when you tender your resignation, that letter of resignation should first be accepted by the HR unit of that particular organization. It doesn't mean when you tender your resignation that is accepted. It will be acceptable to the organization. And I found it, and I've seen some commentators have stated that he actually did the right thing so that he should not be pushed. But I think for me, what is wrong here is how this announcement has been made. You would expect such an announcement even be made by the Secretary General of the African National Congress for the ANC position, but by the presidency because of the government position. So that is my take on it. Yeah. I don't think it has been handled in the right way.
Rebone, for him to do it in this particular manner, does it tell us some of the dynamics that are happening behind closed doors? Because in one of the clips, he says that he's making way for Paul Mashatile and says that, Mashatile has started making moves, so he wants to be able to then allow him room to be able to do that. Is this a sign that things may be happening behind the scenes?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Bongi, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. I think what we must do is go back. The ANC, we know that it finished its business of conference on the 5th of January this year. And the Deputy President was not there. Even if, yes, he was no longer the Deputy President of the ANC, but a deployed cadre of the ANC, to the highest office in the land. That shows you that he has already started disengaging also from ANC internal activities, because he was pushed out by a faction that he gave numbers to in 2017. So for him right now, he feels that why must he wait for the president when he has probably because around the 25th already of January, we were hearing that he has rendered his resignation. And the president finds himself in a very difficult position because this is not the ideal deputy president that they wanted at conference, because we know that building up to the conference, they wanted Senzo Mchunu, who ended up not reaching threshold. They then compromised on having Oscar Mabuyane as their candidate at conference. Oscar Mabuyane, who then loses to Paul Mashatile. So there's issues of trust also, but I think that David Mabuza does not want to be involved in this whole internal factions within the ANC. And you know that for the longest time, he's been really playing it low and not wanting to be seen involved in the factional politics of the ANC, even during his tenure as the Deputy President of the ANC.
So, Rebone, could then the delay in probably us knowing what exactly, has been happening or is going to happen, could it be linked to what you're saying? There might be a management process that is happening behind closed doors?
Absolutely. There's I'm saying that there's issues of trust, and some people, when I speak to some within the ANC, they're saying that even within the CR faction, some are very angry with the current Minister of Justice, Lamola, who we know that was running for Deputy President and did not want to withdraw in favor of Oscar Mabuyane at conference. And they feel that he betrayed the core by wanting to contest until the until he went to ballot, and where he compromised the numbers for Oscar Mabuza. So it's very tough within that faction. There's a lot of divisions. I mean, from even the issues of NWC, some are not happy within that faction that they did not make it. So there's a lot of power struggle within that faction.
And Prof, listening to what Rebone has to say, and also, I mean, seeing the fact that the president says that the deputy president must stay on until the management of his departure and transition is finalized. News is in the public domain now that the deputy president is effectively gone, although, of course, the letter still has to be accepted. But how much time does the president have to manage this transition?
Yeah, I strongly believe that, once a letter of resignation has been tendered, the question is, what harm will it have done if the president have announced? Because this is in any case. I mean, even if you are blind and even if you can't hear, you're deaf, and I say this with the utmost respect, you will understand that this is what is going to happen. Paul Mashatile will be ushered in as the deputy president of South Africa. So the question is, why is the presidency slipping on a letter of resignation? Why would they want to wait up until a reshuffling is taking place? Because you can just make that announcement to say, if they do accept the letter of resignation. And it's very difficult. So for me, it also tells me it's a power play going around. But what David Mabuza also did was to say, well, I'm not going to wait up until the presidency make this announcement. I'm taking South Africans into confidence, irrespective of the consequences, because what consequences can there be for him? But I will not say this is the end of David Mabuza, but I would say if he is going to go for another top 6 position, that for me, I would think that for me will be a futile exercise, because it's about time to hand over to the younger generation within the African National Congress.
I wish we had time to explore that, but as we inching closer to the end of our discussion, I can't let you go, Prof, without asking you this one. I mean, news that Sisi Ntombela might be recalled as Premier of the Free State doing the rounds. Of course, we are expecting the PEC to tell us what exactly her future is going to be. Should it happen that this is the case, she then is recalled. Is this what the Free State needs right now?
Well, for me, and I have already written an opinion piece about that, for me, that will be unfortunate. We all know once the chairperson has been, we saw in what happened in KZN and in other provinces, once a new PEC has been elected, there's always this tendency to try and make sweeping changes. Changes that should happen in Mangaung, in the Free State, it's definitely about changing the mayor of the Mangaung Metro Municipality. And that should have happened yesterday, because if you look at service delivery in this province, they have disintegrated. But remember, you're also talking very briefly about a province where each elective conference has been challenged, a highly divided province here, or where the ANC is ruling. And you will thought that the so-called, the Kodisim Dukwana-led PEC will be cautious about not repeating the mistakes of the past. So for me, I think that will be too early. And after 8 or 10 months, the very same comrades would want to rely on these members of the African National Congress to campaign for the organization. But if it has to do about the performance of the premier, then I think perhaps that is the right call. But, with such a decision, there's always political pressure to say, let us get rid of these people because maybe they serve as a barrier to the so-called renewal process within the African National Congress.
Rebone, the ANC in the Free State says that it wants to renew itself. I mean, to take on the last point that Prof has said there, and they say that this must translate not only from the ANC, but it must also translate into government. And we do know, of course, even when the president of the ANC was addressing that, closing that particular conference, saying that they need to work hard to be trusted by the voters in that particular province. Do they have the right people within their ranks ranks to be able to achieve this? That is the trust of the voters.
I don't know individuals, in their personal capacity, but one can say that renewal, it's a very difficult process, and it needs people who are not factional, because I can tell you the biggest problem right now that they're facing in the current cabinet, only one person is an MEC from the newly elected PEC, which is the chair. So that has got a potential, of really discipline, because now it's all about that people are looking at blue lights, because then you have the whole cabinet and the premier who are not part of the leadership, and people are in a rush. People feel that they want this political power that comes, with access to resources.
All right, let's see then what happens, Rebone, if we're going to see sweeping changes with some then making it into the government of that particular province. We have to leave it there with you both, but thank you. Always a pleasure to speak to both of you. Thank you so much for your time. That's Professor Sethulego Matebesi and Rebone Tau, both are political analysts. Of course, we're talking about the resignation of Deputy President David Mabuza. At the same time, we are, of course, waiting to hear what the future of the Premier of the Free State is going to be.